final question that we ask is, how do you deal with the pressure of being a public persona? For example, imposter syndrome, pressure to post, and addiction. So, without further ado, let's play the last video.
Generally, I don't feel any pressure unless there is money on the line. And I just enjoy being myself instead of feeling pressured. I like to think about what I want to draw next instead. And life is short, just do whatever you want. And when I die, I'll be the only one who lies in my own coffin anyway, so why live for strangers we barely know? And if you are against those shitty clients who demand for free works, then why is it any different with beating yourself making new free content daily for strangers online you barely talk to?
I am not, but I think you're right with the imposter syndrome thing. I feel like it stems with a lot of people validating your work, even though you know yourself that work isn't good enough. So it kind of like, so this is the emotional feedback or emotional response I get if even if I post something that looks shitty, people will still like, oh, that's cool. I was like, oh, okay. You kind of like subconsciously lower your bar because you've hit that emotional temporary high from that shitty post. And I feel like it's bound to set you up for a comfort zone that gets very difficult to get out of. So for me, I think how I am dealing with it right now is by not going on social media anymore as often as I would like. Or if I am, I would usually just like interact on Messenger or like messages or DMs with close people. But other than posting stuff, I kind of like just stop doing it or like very less frequent than usual.
Really, I wouldn't count myself as a persona because that implies that I'm constantly giving my opinions on certain topics or current events and things like that, whereas I have only ever posted my artwork. I don't post personal life either. So I don't think there's any pressure on me to do anything really. And in terms of regularly updating my ArtStation, it's only ever for me. It's because I want to continue to grow a following or I want to share what I'm doing at the time. But if I haven't posted for a while, that doesn't matter because the people following me have tons of other artists that they're getting new work from. So really, I don't find any pressure to post because I don't think any of the audience is going to go, oh, this person hasn't posted something on ArtStation, let's unfollow them. It just doesn't seem to make any sense to me. So really, that just doesn't come into my head at all. Of course, the exception to a rule like this would just be if you're providing content on something like Patreon, where people are actually paying you for content. Or say you're streaming on Twitch and people are actually subscribing to your channel, then suddenly people have given something in because they expect you to give something back. And then you have a bit more of a responsibility to continue to update at least, or just to create the artwork you were planning to begin with.
I think that's quite a good range of answers that we've gotten there.
Yes.
And man, I really do wish that I can have the same attitudes that Rika and Thomas have when it comes to dealing with social media and just putting stuff up whenever you like, whatever you like. And yeah, just being yourself in essence. Because I still think that I struggle with that a bit and tend to be a bit too cautious.
Why do you say you're being too cautious? Like, what makes you feel that way?
I think it's because I want to appear. I have a certain image I would like to keep up, which is, one of my goals is to, for example, in the future, I want to be able to travel the world and host workshops or even opening up my own school in the future and do talks at big events and things like that. So to me, I feel like it is important to give the image that I'm someone that's reputable, knowledgeable, and someone that knows what they're talking about. And as a result, I don't want to necessarily post up something that might go against that image or might compromise that. And as a result, that has actually led me to become a little bit more, to lose some of the joy when it came to art. And it's gotten better recently, for sure. And I'm trying to loosen up a bit and just not treat social media so seriously anymore. Although I still try to stick to similar guidelines, such as not posting a personal life. But I'm trying to be more open in showing, I guess, my like humanity and who I am as a person, even with my shortcomings as well.
You're trying to fool these humans to think that you're part of them.
Exactly.
But I think what you're saying is
I
quite.
think I'm doing better than Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes. But what you're saying is very interesting about having a bigger goal where you want to go to these public events and then talk to a bigger audience, and because of that you want to make sure that you have an image that you're reputable, which I think it's a good goal, and in a way it keeps you to a certain standard when posting, which might be good depending on your goal, right? So I'm not sure. I mean, I kind of agree with you in a sense that for me personally, even though I don't really feel the pressure to post, but I do feel that I have to post some images that are more finished, or images that I'm a lot more proud of, instead of just posting everything that I have. Yeah, in a way that kind of takes away the joy a little bit, and also kind of masking the failure like we talked about previously.
And that's why I could take a page out of Rika and Thomas's book and just not really think about it too much, which I do think I want to go more in that direction, because it's not to say that people that do that cannot be reputable, cannot be well regarded in the industry, and perhaps it'll make them more relatable, really.
Yeah.
But there's definitely the alternate route that Josh has offered up in his response, which is just to not be on social media at all. If it really has become such a thorn in someone's side, I do think that is an option, especially if you're doing well enough. And I think Josh is getting to a point in his career where he doesn't necessarily need the validation or the constant flow of new clients as he may be used to in the past. And as a result, he's kind of just letting go of something that was once a blessing, but perhaps now more of a burden.
I guess it ultimately depends on your current position and your goal, on what you want your social media to be, and how you want to handle the negativity on social media. I definitely love Rika's answer about life is short, do whatever you like. And
yeah, exactly.
With client demanding free work, it's no different than doing work for other people instead of for yourself. It's something that I've never thought about in that way, and it makes a lot of sense.
And Nomadic Coyote comments, all of your guests are so well adjusted. And I agree. Maybe it is a little bit of maybe next time we should try and invite some guests that are more controversial, or perhaps are less well adjusted, so we can have a much wider spectrum of responses. And Jen Luke also comments, you can read it out, Ken.
Jen Luke says, I deal with imposter syndrome by following makers on all different levels. Everything from super pro, polished accounts, to people who are just starting out. It reminds me that we're all valid and interesting and fun. Doesn't have to look a certain way.
And I really do think that everyone has their own unique voice. And maybe that imperfection that we're so afraid of is actually a plus point for someone else, and could make you more endearing and relatable compared to someone else that seemingly is so perfect, for example. And that's something that I'm really trying to embrace more. Even though I might not be as good as this other person, maybe I do have some other qualities that makes me more relatable to someone else. And I do think everyone has their own place in life. And as a result, I do think that they're able to accomplish something, even though it might not necessarily be as big as some of the ones that have reached great levels of success have.
Rika also commented on the chat. My biggest fear is one day I suddenly die and not getting to finish all the stuff that she genuinely loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's definitely a fear because we never know when we're gonna pass on to the next world.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that helps to just make us conscious of how we spend our day and that we don't waste our time and that we do spend it in a way that's going to be the most, I suppose, fulfilling for us.
I'm on the fence where I think a time that you enjoy spending is not wasted time. So do whatever you like. If you enjoy it, then who cares what other people think, you know?
Mhm.
But of course, that comes at a limit where if you just keep not doing what you're responsible for, then that's also not very good. So
You're married now, Ken. You can't just do whatever the hell you want.
I know. I'm just saying that because a lot of people seem to say that, oh, hey, you're playing too many games, or hey, you're doing too much art, or whatever. If you enjoy it and then you keep your life at a balance, I think it's fine. And speaking of balance, our previous artist panel is about work and life balance. So if you want to hear more about that, go check it out on YouTube.
That was a good plug, Ken. But yeah,
Of course.
that one was a fun episode to do as well. So if you guys have
Yeah.
enjoyed this format, be sure to check out the previous one that we've done, and also reading out the rest of the comments, and then we can move on to the Q&A and Artwork of the Week segment. I realize that this has gone on for a while, but we really do appreciate you guys for sticking around and just participating in the discussion as well. It's been a lot of fun reading the comments, and I've definitely been exposed to some things that I would have never thought about otherwise.
For sure.
Yeah, so
You want to read out the
Draw-
rest of the comments?
Yeah, sure. SDF Draw says, making and posting art should be enjoyable, and if that begins to become tedious or unenjoyable, stepping back from the problem and taking a break can actually boost your creativity and quality. I agree. My analogy is the same as when you're working out. There comes a time where you need to let your muscles rest in order to grow. And if you keep on overworking yourself, you're going to end up injuring yourself or worse. And Nomadic Coyote says, oh no, I meant it in a good way. It's amazing to hear people who are able to get over those hurdles. But of course, feel free to invite emotional messes as well. Yeah, I think they're going to be a bit harder to come by, but that would be some consideration. But yeah, and Uribo also says in response to SDF Draw, too much art is when you start hurting yourself drawing. Yeah, it's tough for sure to really find out sometimes what your limits are.
Always take breaks.
Yes,
Just
take breaks,
don't
guys.
force yourself. Don't force
Yeah, know
yourself
your
to
limits
keep doing
for
art 24/7.
All right, so that actually wraps up the artist panel segment, and we're you know what? Let's actually open up Q&A session for the next 4 minutes. So if you guys have any other questions related to what we've been discussing, or even something unrelated at all, feel free to ask.
Hey.
And I think there actually was one question by Uribu a while back, which says, speaking of portfolios, how useful are resumes in the art industry? I want to get into concept art, and I found few jobs on Indeed and other places that have asked for them, but I don't actually have previous experience in the professional field. I do think the portfolio still is the most important thing, because
Yeah.
I do think at one point every artist would have had no experience whatsoever when it comes to art. But eventually they do get hired, and some people get accepted into smaller studios, and some people have their big jobs at a big studio. And I really do think that the golden ticket really is the quality of your work. a good resume,
Uh,
I think will help a lot for the bigger companies when they start looking for more experienced people. But I still think that it's just more important to focus on the quality of your portfolio instead.
Yeah, totally agree. Never been asked for my resume whenever a new job comes.
Mhm.
They only contact me because they like one of my works or they like my portfolio. So it's never been about the job that I've gotten before previously.
Mhm.
But I think it's a different case if you're trying to, for example, like Jourdan said, getting into a bigger studio. They might. I'm not sure because I've never been to a big studio before. Maybe it's for like a visa thing where they expect you to have a certain year of experience before they can grant you visa. So that might help. And I'm not sure what situation would need you to have a resume.
Yeah, I think that's the simultaneously the good thing about art, and perhaps maybe something that makes people feel a little bit confused about it.
Mhm.
And no worries, Aribu. But like we said, we were going to answer it near the end of the podcast. So there you go. Hopefully that helps, of course. And if no one has any other questions, let's move on to the final segment of the podcast, where we will be showing an artwork that has left an impression of us throughout the week. And we call that segment the Artwork of the Week segment. Ooh, very creative. So I'm going to show mine right now. So this is the artwork that I've chosen for mine. And while you're pulling yours up, Ken, I'll just show it. So this is a piece by Romain Jourdan. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But I think so. I don't know, man. Sorry if I butchered your name, Romain. But I absolutely love how he integrates photos and the cinematic moods that he manages to achieve. I think he has a very strong mastery of lighting, and he captures all of the subtleties, such as all of this dust and all of the particles diffused in the atmosphere, and capturing the right amount of exposure and the density of atmosphere in the piece, and even capturing all of these highlights and speculars on the metal. Is just really masterful integration of photos and painting, and maybe even 3D. I'm not too sure actually. And just even these subtle bits of lighting, I think it makes the piece feel so believable. And even this light or orb, just having the light go through the transparency of that material is just such a nice touch. And he's definitely one of my favorite artists when it comes to the cinematic or more photorealistic look. Yeah. Oh, and thanks for linking the artist profile in the chat, Uribu. But yeah, if you guys haven't followed him yet on ArtStation, please do so. And this is our attempt at using social media for something more positive, where we hopefully would feature some artists that... Oh, so apparently I have something covered here. Sorry about that. Forgot to remove it from the previous episode. But hopefully this will allow us to expose you guys to some artists that you have not heard before and give them so much deserved love and exposure.
Oh, okay. It's full screen now. Alright. So, this one is a concept art for the the CG Lion King. And it is done by Shay Shatz. And I really love the mood and the color and also the lighting in this piece. But unfortunately, I don't think he's quite active on ArtStation or Instagram. And I'm only able to get this piece because I'm friends with him on Facebook. And that's also because I met him when I was studying in the US. That's how I knew him. Back then he was working on 343 Industries on Halo. But now he's working on film. And I just love this piece, and especially love this part here where the sunlight is shining on the waterfall. Just feels so nice. That golden hour sunlight, it's awesome. And this part here where the sun is shining through the fog and like the mist of the waterfall, that's just really beautiful, really nicely handled. It's amazing. Yeah, so that's my art of the week.
I see. Awesome. And apparently, Vina says she can't hear me, but hopefully it's better now.
Can you guys
But
hear
yeah, we
Jordan?
really, I think should be better now. Okay, I think I know
Okay,
why. It's
okay.
because I switched to a different window, possibly. Oh, I think it's because you switched to a different scene, Ken.
Oh, no.
We'll have to figure that out. We promise, guys, by the next episode, we'll have this technical stuff figured out.
Yes.
But yeah, and thanks again, Uribu, for posting up the link to the to Shay's portfolio. But yes,
so we're at the end of the episode.
yes. So that was quite a long one, guys. But yes, we
Yeah, it's
are finally
been
at the end,
2 hours.
and we'd like to thank you guys again for sticking with us through to the end of the episode, regardless of when you have joined. And of course, a big thank you to the artists on today's panel for sharing their experiences and insights. I really do think that it's given the audience, and I can definitely speak for myself, some things to consider and even affirmations perhaps on some of the things I already believe in. And please take your time to give them some much deserved love by checking out their social media links and artworks. So later on when we post it on YouTube, we'll be putting that in the description, or you can just rewind the video and look up their social media links, which we put under their names. They are all amazing at what they do, and we are really grateful for them taking the time to be part of today's episode.
And if you guys find this episode helpful or entertaining to you, please share it with someone else that you think would find it the same as well. And also, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for updates on upcoming contents, and on YouTube to watch our previous episodes, and also on Twitch to catch future episodes live.
Mm-hmm.
And we also now have a Facebook group for our community, which you can join through the link in the chat or the description of this video. And we would also love to hear what you think of this episode and what your answers to the questions are. You can submit them through the Facebook group or even tagging us on our social media with TDT Artist Panel 17. Please also send us suggestions on what topics you want to hear next, or who you want to hear from on the next artist panel. We're really open for suggestions and feedback, so please do send us messages or just send us comments or
we're going
anything.
to do our best to respond to them. And one of the reasons why we do this podcast is for you guys to get something out of it. So please feel free to contact us and let us know. And we're so glad that some of you guys came here, whether it was because of a post that was shared or even by accident. It was really great to have you guys join in today. So we hope to see you guys on the next episode.
Evan says, Evan M. Munson, Carla Ortiz, and Claire Wending.
Sure,
we'll try.
Actually,
no promises.
If we eventually have an episode where we can invite them on, or anyone else, we'll do our best.
Mm.
We're going to keep on trying to raise the bar, guys. Alright, so with all that said, I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend wherever in the world that you are. And we hope to see you guys next time on the next Drawing Table podcast episode.
See you guys on the next pod.
Alright, take care,
Bye-bye.
everyone. See you around.
Thanks so much, guys.